Hey guys, we have an active week full of planetary transits. We have a lot going on. This week is jam-packed in terms of planetary activities, so we could feel more revved up than normal as a result. There's a majority of Venus alignments going on this week, which are going to be mixed bag. Interestingly, with the planets, with the personal planets, they're all making specific alignments to Saturn and Neptune. You've already had Mercury make it square and sextile to Neptune, and this week Venus will be doing that same thing. Also, the Sun's going to be making connections to Saturn and Neptune. So there's going to be a lot of interesting activity this week due to those alignments with our relationships, our finances, and our confidence levels. We also have the full moon in Sagittarius this week, which of course I'll be making a separate podcast for, video for, which will have us looking at what opportunities we took advantage of 6 months ago when the new moon happened in Sagittarius back in December of 2022. And looking at the vibes on the graph, there's a lot of stuff going on. This is a very busy week. We've got a mix of energies. There is a high amount of solitude energy, and it is peaking and valleying throughout this week. We have some going from the 14th to the 16th, and we have a bunch going on from about the 17th all the way up to the 19th. Mixed in with that is some emotional sensitivity, which is also peaking and valleying on the 16th, and you have a mix of it going on from the 18th to the 19th, tapering down on the 19th. So all those things are intersecting with one another. So this could be a week where you're feeling more emotional than normal. This could be a week where you're needing space to yourself, even though it kind of contradicts some of the social energy that's going on because we have a steady stream of social energy. It's a bit lower than some of those harder energies, but it is in there. There's also a bunch of romantic energy that's going on by the end of the week. And a lot of that has to do with some of the Venus stuff. There may be moments where we're having a ton of flirty situations, and there may be moments where we are feeling mixed about relationships and where things are just going within a relationship. There's a bunch of psychic vibes when you get from the 14th all the way up until the 16th as well, mixed in with all of that. So we may feel more receptive than normal. We may have higher moments of intuition, intuitive downloads, dreams that are prophetic, but in a lot of ways, this is another one of those weeks where we're having to make sure we're setting some sort of boundaries or practicing spiritual hygiene because we could be picking up on other people's energies and it could feel overwhelming. And there's a huge amount of good luck energy, which is the best part of a lot of this. From the 16th all the way up until the 20th, there is a ton of good luck energy. So this could bring in some opportunities. This could bring in some extra enthusiasm. You could feel more motivated than normal to go after certain things because there are many possibilities ahead of you. So at least we have that. And with a lot of these harder energies that are popping up, one of the good things with harder energies is it helps us go after what we want. It helps us take care of business along with upgrading our situation so we can have a better existence. And there's a smidge of mental energy as well at the end of the week too. So there's a lot of contemplation going on through this week and about the week in general. So let's look at the next bunch of days and see what we can expect. As a reminder, don't forget to like and subscribe and also share because it does help this channel grow. Also, if you'd like to support the hard work of this channel, you can do so by buying me a fresh cup of coffee. There's a link in the description box below. At the beginning of the week, we have some Mercury alignments. Mercury is going to make a semi-square with Mars on the 13th, and this is one of those things where it's mixed bag, and I say this alignment is mixed bag because in a lot of ways, it's great for standing up for yourself, it's great for using your voice, it's great for asserting yourself, and even helping people who can't assert themselves. On the other side of it, it can cause angry moments. In other words, it could be one of those days where you're blurting out the wrong thing or saying something that may come off rude. You may not think you're being rude, but it's coming off rude to other people. It's coming off too direct. It's coming off too blunt, and this may result in people being extra sensitive, or it could cause people to be more hair triggery than normal. It can cause people to be more angrier than normal, which ends up being arguments and disputes with others. So it's something to definitely be aware of with this energy, which is followed by the next day on the 14th. Mercury is going to be in a semi-square with Chiron, which is also one of those things where sometimes it's internal and sometimes it's external. Meaning basically this could be a day where you're either in your head and you're being too hard on yourself, causing you to feel more sensitive than normal, causing you to want space from others. And it could be situations where you're not speaking up. There could be issues with passive aggressiveness. And also bottling up your feelings and not expressing yourself the way you should be expressing yourself and letting all this stuff out. On the flip side of that, this could be one of those things where you're oversharing, which could also cause other people to feel uncomfortable, or that the situation's overbearing, or that you're coming off in a way that's rude. So that combined with some of that Mars energy from the other day could make for some awkward communication on those 2 days. And again, this can definitely result in all that emotional sensitivity that was coming up, and some of the solitude energy, and also even being sensitive to energies on those particular days. So do the best you can when these energies hit. On the 15th, Mars is making a conjunction with Chiron. So again, we have another alignment that can be a bit triggery. We have another alignment that can be somewhat uncomfortable. One of the things with this is it calls for us to heal certain situations with our aggression, with our temper, with impulsivity, with jealousy issues, and reckless behavior overall. So an alignment like this can bring up certain situations where we're called to work on those things. It can bring up the root cause for why we react the way we do, and this may be with our tempers. This may be in the form of getting aggressive, yelling. So this could make us aware of that behavior, so we're working through it. And it's not saying that this can be an overnight thing. This is more or less just kind of like, okay, I'm realizing that I have the wrong reactions to things and I need to handle that. This can also be an issue with immaturity, jealousy, impulsivity, and finding new methods to resolve that, so that way you're not having those types of reactions. And in a lot of ways, on the flip side, it could have a lot to do with confidence, having issues with confidence. An issue with asserting yourself, this can come up in a way where, you're kind of called to do those things. You're kind of called to be more sure of yourself, because we are dealing with Mars, and Mars is a confident energy. Mars is about being sure of ourselves. Mars is about asserting ourselves as well. And healthy assertion. This would definitely fall under that category of healthy assertion. So this could be a time where you're looking at ways to assert yourself, or you're being called to assert yourself that day. This could also bring up stuff to do with our sex drive, because we are dealing with Mars, and there may be things that need to be healed with that, which could be overusing it or underusing it. So yeah, this is a very complex energy in itself, and when it comes up so that we can work through these things. Again, not overnight fixes, but it definitely brings to your attention where something needs to shift. So that way you have a healthy, balanced, and stable life. At least on that same day, the sun is making a trine to Saturn. This energy is lovely because it helps us get grounded, especially when it comes down to our ego, especially when it comes down to our confidence levels. So it really helps us rid ourselves of self-doubt, which is always nice. This is also amazing for just making progress, seeing all your long-term plans that you had that might have felt like they got thwarted or were on hold. It feels like there's some sort of movement that goes on when you see this alignment. In other words, if you had something that was on hold and it didn't feel like it was going to work out, this could be a time where you're seeing that that's breaking free and you're able to move forward with whatever it is. Changing direction completely, and the other direction that you were going wasn't necessarily going to be the right one for you, and this one is going to be more solid, stable, and long term. Another cool thing with this is it's great for recognition. So if there's been some hard work you've been putting in, whether that be within your career or a business or something else, some other goal of yours, you get to see some of the fruits of your labor come to fruition, and you also get to see that pat on the back. And I know some people aren't looking for that, some people are, but this is one of those things where you just kind of get that notice, you get eyeballs on you for the right reasons, and that's lovely. And this also helps us step forward in a respectable way that's not pushy. So this is definitely a lovely energy to take advantage of, and this is a lovely energy to receive if you've been doing all the work that's necessary for you to go forward with all the hard work you've put in. And we're going to need that nice energy from Saturn, because the next day the sun is going to make a square with Neptune. One of the biggest issues with this energy is we tend to feel vague, we tend to feel foggy, we tend to feel not so realistic about our confidence. In other words, we tend to put ourselves down more within this energy. We tend to feel more self-conscious about ourselves, or we feel more defensive in this energy. And also it can bring up situations where we feel like we have some we don't. In other words, this could bring up some hypochondria within this energy. So it inflates things that aren't necessarily a reality, but we feel like they're a reality during these times. This is also one of those things where, we have to be more conscious of our health within this energy. A lot of the times when you have Sun, Neptune, or you have Mars, Neptune, sometimes Saturn, Neptune, it can break down certain things in terms of structure. And with the sun having a lot to do with our vitality, you definitely want to make sure you're taking care of your immune system. You're definitely wanting to make sure you're in balance when it comes down to your health, what you're putting in your body, and all of those things, because this energy can definitely undermine that. And again, it does bring in some issues where we might not have been taking care of those things through overindulgence or using stimulants and other things that just kind of undermine our health. So you definitely want to be careful careful with that. And also there's cloudy judgment that's associated with this, and the tendency to just fluctuate when it comes down to your moods, and also dealing with people who are deceptive. There's a tendency for secrets to come to light and get exposed under this energy, and so you're wanting to just be aware of everything. The 16th definitely has a weird energy about it, and this type of alignment can make things foggy and uncomfortable. On top of that, on that same day, Mars is in a semisextile with Uranus, which can cause a lot of irritability if you're not getting things the way you want it, or things are not happening as fast as you want. In this energy, we have a low tolerance for slow people or slow things, and if it's just not going speedy or nothing's being expedited, we can throw temper tantrums in this energy or just get really ragey in this energy. So you want to be aware of just your temper, or just taking several steps back if you're feeling super impatient or you're not getting what you want right away. Kind of busting the door down doesn't really get you your way, so you just want to make sure you're not doing something like that. This is where your temper backfires. A lot of times, it just requires us to wait maybe a few more hours or a few more days and a few more weeks, and just having an explosive moment can cause you to lose whatever it is that you're trying to obtain. So you want to be careful with that. There's also a bit of jealousy that comes up within this energy too, in relationships and things like that. People tend to fly off the handle or suspect things, and which could come out with the Neptune stuff. So this could be a day of discomfort, this could be a day of arguments, this could be a day of impulsive behavior or erratic behavior, and just acting out of pure rage or emotion. So you really want to just be mindful of your temper on this day. On the 18th, we have more Venus alignments. One with Saturn that's rather uncomfortable, and another one with Neptune, which is actually really nice and dreamy. When it comes down to the Saturn alignment, Venus is going to make a square with Saturn. A lot of time with this alignment, it brings to our awareness that something is just not right within a relationship. In other words, it could be a thing where you're realizing that your relationship lacks warmth, it lacks emotion, it lacks any sort of caring. It's very surface level in the sense where everything is very superficial. Everything is all about outward appearance in the relationship. So this could be a relationship that's really just based on just surface things. Those types of relationships, they look great on paper, but having that like Instagram perfect relationship, a lot of the time behind the scenes, it's very cold, it's very lonely, and this could bring those types of feelings up. And when you're in a relationship that looks good on paper, but when you actually get down to the meat and potatoes of the relationship, there's nothing really there, it could be a very uncomfortable feeling. This could also bring up feelings where you're wanting to be by yourself, you're wanting to be alone, you're not wanting to open up to other people, you're wanting space to yourself. If you're in a relationship, this can come up. If you're not in a relationship, you may be more closed off when it comes down to letting people in, so it can bring up those types of uncomfortabilities in relationships. This could also come up when it comes down to work as well. There could be a job that you're just dissatisfied with and you're no longer happy there. The job itself, it pays in money, but it doesn't pay in reward in terms of your passion. So you're feeling as though you're doing well, but at the same time, it's not fulfilling you, it's not fulfilling your soul, and it's definitely wearing on your emotions as a result. But when it comes down to the Venus sextile Neptune situation, that in itself has a nicer and softer tone. This may alleviate some of the stress that's coming from the Venus-Saturn alignment, but at the same time, you're having to be as realistic as possible because we are dealing with Neptune. Even though this is a harmonious alignment and can bring in so much joy, you just want to make sure you have your eyes open to things. So when it comes down to new people, there could be new people coming in that have a soulmate sort of energy, or just you're meeting people who you connect with on a spiritual level. If you're in a relationship, this may be a moment where you guys are really reconnecting on that level spiritually, or feeling like you're having better intimacy with each other. This kicks the flirtation into overdrive, which is another reason why we were seeing so much romantic energy on the graph. So this could be a day where you're just revved up in terms of just being more flirty. You tend to feel more magnetic than normal, or you're meeting people who are like magnetizing. So it brings in this cool, dreamy sense when it comes down to love. And also with this energy, our moods turn to things that are cultural. So this could be a day where you're just wanting to take in art, you're wanting to take in theater, you're wanting to do painting, or just something that just really just makes those creative juices flow. And this is a fabulous energy for movies and concerts and things like that. So it could be a day of activities of just doing stuff like that. So yeah, this is a lovely energy. Hopefully you guys are feeling this more than anything. And if you are feeling the Saturn stuff, it's calling to your attention something needs to change within those areas. And on the 19th, the sun is going to make a quincunx with Pluto. So with this alignment, we deal with people who have huge egos. We deal with people who are power hungry and want to conquer everything and control everything. It brings up an obsessive nature, and it tends to just bring in these disputes over people not getting their way. So this could be a time where, we're having to check our ego. We're having to be more mindful of the things we're saying to other people, because it may trigger someone within their ego, resulting in power struggles and arguments and disputes that just are not necessary. So yeah, this week definitely is a mixed bag of alignments. A lot of them are going to be harmonious. A lot of them are going to be a bit uncomfortable, but at least it's giving us opportunities to work on the things that we need to take care of that were on the back burner, but also it's helping us look at better options for ourselves that lead to fulfillment. Anyway, I hope you all have the best week ever. Later, guys.